fight fans, UFC 297 is in the books, and we had DDP, Dricus Du Plessis, taking on Sean Strickland for the middleweight championship of the world. Guys, this fight did not disappoint. It was very entertaining, a very a high intense chess match, you could say. It wasn't necessarily your back and forth brawl for all war, you could say. You know, it wasn't necessarily these guys were throwing just crazy amount of punches and such. It wasn't like almost looking like at a Robbie Lawler fight, but it still was very, very entertaining. I definitely recommend you guys checking out for sure, because you know, these guys showed a lot of skills, a lot of technical, showed their technical abilities of what they were able to do inside the octagon. We saw a lot from Sean Strickland. We saw a lot from DDP. You know, a lot of unanswered questions going into this fight was answered during this fight. So yeah, here I am, guys, to break down this fight. And first thing I'm gonna say is we got to say congratulations to the new middleweight champion of the world, DDP. He took it on. He took that belt away from Sean Strickland, and it was, again, like I said, a very fun fight that I recommend you guys checking it out. So let's break it down, shall we? You know, in this fight, we knew Sean Strickland was going to be much more of the striker going into this. He was definitely going to be more boxing with his Philly shell boxing, and he was definitely going to be the more accurate, which he was. Sean Strickland, with his jab, he was definitely very dangerous. He was very, very dangerous. He was like, it was very rare to see him miss with that jab. He was picking apart DDP's face with that jab. He actually had him busted open. I believe it was in the left eye. And it was earlier in the rounds where it was more in the first, second, and third round where we really saw DDP's eye get busted up more and more and more. But Sean Strickland's jab was just phenomenal. And not just only his jab, his kicking defense, you know, where he was able to check a lot of DDP's kicks. He was able to check them and pretty much still utilize his boxing. And not just also that, he was able, it wasn't super big as far as the takedowns go, but he was able to stop a few takedowns. So Sean Strickland actually was able to do a lot. And he was definitely very busy in the earlier rounds for sure. But as the contest went forward, you saw Dricus, he was definitely doing his best to close in the distance. He was definitely doing his best to get in closer to Sean Strickland because it was very hard with that jab and those counter strikes that Sean Strickland was able to land. Like I said, that jab was a huge problem in the earlier rounds for DDP. You know, DDP had to really make some quick adjustments. He had to utilize his kicks. He had to go for those thigh kicks, those upper head kicks. He had to go for even a few body kicks. He had to make it very difficult for Sean Strickland. And he also had to utilize some wrestling in there. He actually was able to take Sean Strickland down a few times. I believe 6 times grand total throughout the fight. So, you know, I felt like the overall mixed martial artist was DDP, where Sean Strickland felt like more like of course, just the pure boxer specialist going into this fight. So DDP was able to turn it up after a few rounds of Sean Strickland pretty much out punching him with that jab. And again, DDP was able to close in the distance, was able to throw some crazy haymakers. He even did a few spinning back fists. Of course, the wrestling. He was able to keep Sean Strickland guessing, and I do believe that's what helped him a lot in the later rounds. And in the later rounds, especially round 4, you saw Strickland's face get smashed up. He was getting busted up by DDP's punching power, because you can't sleep on DDP's power. You know, he was able to put away a lot of good guys. You got Darren Till, you got Derek Brunson, of course, who else but Robert Whitaker. You know, Robert Whitaker, he by far one of the best middleweights of all time in the division, probably the middleweight champion of the world if it wasn't for Israel Adesanya. But he was able to do that to Robert Whitaker. DDP was. So, you know, again, you never wanted to sleep on his power, and he was able to show his power. And one thing that he did answer was his cardio. We all had those questions about DDP's cardio because he's never really been in the 4th and 5th round. Of course, no fault of his own. If he's able to stop these opponents or his fight's only 3 rounds, that's on, you know, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, he was able to show us that, hey, he can hang in there in the championship rounds. He can actually go toe-to-toe with these guys. So, and that's what he did. You know, he knew he had to go in there long-term. Like, he had to really show up in this fight if he really wanted to take that belt away from Sean Strickland. Guys, this was a very close fight. This fight could have gone either way. No one was robbed in this fight. You know, it did look like Sean Strickland did a little bit more. He looked like he was a little bit more active with his punching. And, you know, DDP did get messed up himself But I do feel like with the wrestling, with the kicking, with all the pretty much overall mixed martial artists of DDP, I feel like he was the one that should have been rewarded, which he did get rewarded, the middleweight championship of the world. So it was a very fun fight, guys. I definitely recommend you guys checking it out for sure. But you got yourself a new middleweight champion of the world. So, guys, what is going to be next for DDP? Well, he actually called out Israel Adesanya, but we all know Israel Adesanya is pretty much semi retired at the moment. There's all this rumors about possibly him going in and fighting at UFC 300. I personally do not see it for multiple reasons. One, it feels like Israel Adesanya really wants to take a break from the MMA world. You know, Israel Adesanya lost his middleweight championship of the world to Sean Strickland back in September. So it hasn't even been a year yet for Izzy to really think about or contemplate returning yet. We haven't really heard of any possible hints of him might wanting to come back or anything like that. So I really don't see that happening. That's for one reason. The next reason is because of the damage DDP took on. You know, DDP was not in no easy fight. It would be a little bit different if maybe this fight did not go to decision. If DDP was able to stop him in the first round, then I say, okay, maybe he's fresh and he could go for UFC 300. But the amount of damage he was in there, the amount of damage he took on in this fight against Sean Strickland, who is no punk, who is definitely no easy opponent to go through. Yeah, I really see him coming back sometime in summer to defend his middleweight championship of the world. So I really don't see that potentially happening. But as far as an opponent goes, I could potentially see Israel Adesanya coming back for summer. I could see that potentially happening, or he could possibly face like the middleweight division is wide open right now. And of course, with the new champion, he could face anybody right now. He could possibly go against Jared Cannonier. You know, you got this new rising star, Bo Nickel, but I don't see him potentially getting a shot. Or you even got the guy that tweeted said he wants him at 300, Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev, you know, we already saw he was able to fight Kamaru Usman back in October. Did not look like the greatest, but at the end of the day, I do believe he is going to be awarded a middleweight championship title shot. So this would be a very fun fight to happen. A very fun fight. So we do not know what's going to happen or who is going to be in there to fight for that middleweight strap. But we do know that this fight was a great fight. I very much enjoyed it, and I recommend you guys definitely checking it out for sure. So guys, let me know in the fight. Let me know what you think in the comments on who won the fight. Let me know what you think is going to be next for DDP. And let me know what you think is even going to be next for Sean Strickland. Let me know in the comments, guys. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.